part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
We're back, baby. We are back.
Did we ever leave?
Well, you know, it's been a while since we've strung together 2 weeks in a row.
Well, I mean, you go on vacations.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. That's
Thank
a
you.
lie. I'll do it
I
again.
know it's a complete lie. You're going again in like a month. But I'll be there too. So there's that.
Love inside jokes to open the show.
Oh,
It's
why
a joke,
not?
It's conversation.
Listen, our listeners already feel like they are family. Like they know us.
Yes.
You guys that are listening, and gals, I hope. There are gals in the sports card hobby. I
just haven't met them, but I know they're out there.
You should think of us as family. We don't think of you as family at all, but you should think of us
I don't like that.
as family.
I didn't like that one
Well,
bit.
I mean, think about it this way.
This is not the direction I wanted this opening.
If
to
you're a
go.
reasonably famous person,
We can stop now.
if you are, you
can-
want your fans to feel like they know you.
Guys, Gary thinks that we have a lot of fans.
But I don't really want to know if you're a reasonably famous person. Do you really want like just random fans showing up to your house like,
should
here's
we
some beer?
stop the episode and start over?
Why?
Because they don't even know what show this is.
I'm just assuming that you would have started singing by this point.
This is the Ball Card Show, the esports podcast.
For the Sports Collector,
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we are brought to you by.
The Press Play Podcast Network.
So, anyway, I apologize for him continuing in that. The point is, we're glad you're here. We're glad
We
you're
are glad
listening.
you're here. Just, some of you can show up at my house, I guess.
That was great, bud. You keep it's like,
You're going to have to transition me out of this train
you know
of
what?
thought.
I just thought of a great analogy of what you keep doing.
Okay.
It's like, I just smoked a brisket perfectly.
That's never happened for you, but go ahead.
This is my story.
Okay.
So what keeps happening in these conversations, these openings, I just smoked a brisket perfectly. Brought it in, cut it perfectly, right? The right way. And you come in and say, I love barbecue. And you dump 2 bottles of barbecue sauce on my brisket. That's what's happening in our dialogue right now.
Flavor your brisket better, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
You're like the guy that's like, you know what these hot dogs need? More ketchup.
Yeah, usually brown mustard.
See,
And some
you
sauerkraut.
don't even realize what's happening right now. This is a show that's supposed to be about sports cards.
It is about sports cars, but we talk too. Like, just
Tell you what,
guys.
I think we should jump into our content.
Well, jump away.
All right, the first item on our business meetings agenda.
Interesting approach.
Just kidding. Topps product cancellation. So Topps is bringing a lot of products to the chopping block, some of which I think great idea, some of which I'm like, huh.
Well, yeah, and so the industry summit was last week, and Topps a big part of that, and they made a lot of announcements. This was the biggest one, although I think we're going to hear over the next couple weeks more and more of new information leaking out. But yeah, run down that list. There's a few on there that I'm perfectly fine with losing,
Yeah.
and there's a couple that I'm like,
I'll go all the way through the list, read it out loud, and then we'll break them down
do it.
one at a time. Bowman Chrome X, gone. Clearly Authentic, gone. Topps Fire, gone. Gallery, gone. Gold Label, gone. Opening Day, gone. First Edition, gone.
Yeah.
So, Bowman Chrome X.
Bowman Chrome X. Do you know what that product is? And okay, so it's for you guys are listening and may not know what that product
It is the perfect product for a breaker to throw into a mixer.
Well, so it's a collaboration product
Yep.
between StockX and Topps. And it's one card per box. It's slabbed and you could get whatever. Pretty short print runs. And I kind of liked the product, but I thought it was overpriced.
Yeah.
For what it was, and with it being such a short print run and not a big profit generator and not something that the hobby like really sunk its teeth into, it makes sense for them to cut that show, especially since Fanatics kind of cut their ties with Josh Luber and he was the guy who from StockX. It just kind of made sense.
Yep, I get it. Clearly Authentic. I've had a couple of these.
Yeah, it's a weird product. Like you would think, based on the rest of the hobby and how it takes to clear acetate stuff, that it would have been a much more sought after product than it is, but it really doesn't hold value. People don't really look for it, which means that you can get some nice autos for reasonable dollars if you want to go after it. But going forward, you won't have that option.
No. Up next, one that I've been begging for Topps to get rid of for quite some time, Topps Fire.
Such a turd product.
Terrible product.
It's not as bad as Big League, which they did not put on the chopping block.
Here's what I think Big League is supposed to be, is great entry-level price point. You get to see all the stars.
That's how
bets.
Fire was, too. I mean, the hobby
but
boxes were
design
retail
was
exclusive.
Terrible.
Well, no, yeah, it definitely looked like a bad designer on an acid trip.
Big League, at least, like if kids are collecting, I like it because they have just the different border parallels.
Yeah.
Half of the pack are inserts of some
Right.
sort. So, I've only purchased Big League intentionally once. Let's
Okay.
leave it at that. Up next, one that you're a little bit bummed out with, Topps Gallery.
Yeah, between that and Fire, there's kind of a common theme across what they are chopping. And that is anything that in the current marketplace felt like a good value for like autographs and things like that, guaranteed autos and things like that, they've chopped.
Yeah.
Like Fire hobby boxes were Target exclusive. They were $90. You were getting 2 autos. Mm-hmm. Gallery, retail exclusive megas, 2 autos. So anything that was like less than $100 that had multiple guaranteed autos in it, they've kind of gone, we don't want to play that game anymore. So I liked Gallery as a product. I always thought it was a fun rip, and it was an inexpensive rip, and you were going to get some autos. We kind of hyped it up for people looking for nice stuff for their kids to pull some autos out of. Yeah. So, yeah.
That one's one that usually you'll find on the shelf too. It's probably the bigger reason they got rid of it.
It is, but it didn't used to be. It has become that because the prices went up. But check your Walmarts, because any leftover Gallery stuff has gone on clearance. The megas are like $39.99 or $49.99, and normally they're $79.99.
Yeah.
If you can find them, they're worth grabbing.
Yep. This next one is one that I was a little bit surprised to hear is getting chopped. Gold label.
Why are you surprised to hear that it was getting chopped? I'm interested.
I may be a little more disappointed. I kind of like how they look.
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit of a surprise, but when I stopped and thought about it, it shouldn't have been a surprise. The part that was surprising is Gold Label is a product that for many years was a very sought after product. So my feelings for Gold Label across all sports that Topps made it in was nostalgic more than anything else. In the last several years, the product has really lagged behind. It's not sought after, but you still can move. If you find Gold Label stuff from the late 90s to early 2000s, mid 2000s of star players, that stuff moves like crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Opening day is next.
Trash product.
I know. I bought a lot more of that than I'd like to admit.
Well, it's cheap. If you wanted something fun to rip that was a flagship product, yeah, I mean, it just isn't going to hold any value. Some of the parallels did, but they were so hard to hit.
I didn't really understand entirely how braking worked, so I went into the cheapest brake possible when I first got back in here.
Yeah.
And opening day was the product.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely cheap.
Up next, first edition. I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen this.
So it's just Topps first edition. They didn't chop. Well, at least my understanding is that they aren't chopping Bowman first edition.
Bowman first edition I've seen.
Yes.
Not the same as Bowman first.
Right.
But
so if you're not familiar with what the first edition cards are, it's a parallel release to whatever the flagship product is, except all the cards have a first edition. It's a white circle with blue lettering in lower right or left-hand corner, depending on the design, that just says first edition. It's not the Bowman first or a rookie card or anything like that. It just is stamped first edition. They came out with this product 2 years ago, and it sold really well early, and then they started trying to sell it for almost double whatever its companion product
Yeah.
was, and people were like, yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. Yeah. And it didn't sell as well. So and then last year when they sold Bowman first edition, it didn't even come in boxes. Like you would order 500 packs and it would just be like 500 loose packs in a cardboard box. So kind of a weird product. I'm not real mad that they're discontinued. There's already enough confusion with rookies. What's a rookie? What's a prospect card? There's already enough confusion without adding another layer of confusion to it.
Yeah. What I saw a little bit online, just the commentary back and forth about this, some people were like, this can't be good, blah, blah, blah. What's this mean? I think it's really good, actually, overall for the hobby, cleaning up products that are inferior. It still makes me a little nervous for whatever the monopoly will become around the hobby stuff and fewer retail options for collectors. You know, that could be an issue. But I'm overall thinking this is a sign of, hey, we see some products aren't as good. We're kind of trying to set a standard here. If it doesn't perform well, we're not going to keep dragging this out.
Yeah. And then the question becomes, to me at least, in cutting these products, is that going to result in even further increased print runs of other products? Or is this Fanatics saying the best way for us to utilize our license, and this is what I hope is happening, is to create value for the consumer, not value for the LCS, not value for distributors. How do we create value for consumers? Do we rein in print runs, or do we, this is what I kind of hope happens, print whatever you want to print? Like this, if I was in charge of Fanatics, this is what I would be doing.
Here we go, people.
This is what I would be doing with all my flagship sets. I would not have third parties putting bounties on things like we talked about with the SSPs in 2023 Series 1.
You'd be Willy Wonka.
Yeah, 100%. I would say every product we release, there's going to be a chase. And if you complete that chase, that is how you then get the really good stuff, the really limited stuff. The first 5,000 people to complete this parallel set are going to get this numbered to 5,000. It's a full set of the entire 2023 Top Series 1, the entire print run, autographed, numbered to whatever.
Whoa.
Like that type of promotion would allow them to sell tons and tons and tons of their flagship product, especially if they're smart enough to SP certain common cards. It would increase the run at shows for people showing up, digging through dime and quarter and dollar boxes, trying to find these bits and pieces. That type of thinking and approach increases the revenue and the chase for the entire hobby and everybody involved in it. I hope that that's the direction they're headed with some of this stuff.
Yeah, I can see that. And then the stuff that gets a little more rare is even more rare.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
value on any hit.
As
So
it gets eaten up, like you
Which-
turn in that set,
they're going to be incentivizing people for hobby a little more.
right?
And it's not just like a roll of the dice like it feels right now.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
and if you do that, if you plan it properly, that just makes it better for everyone.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see what's coming down the road, if there's any other adjustments. But I think for this year, that's a good little chunk that they're not going to have to put out.
For sure.
So of all of these products, I'll read them again. Chromex, Authentic Fire Gallery, Gold Label, Opening Day First Edition. Do you think any of these will become something a little bit nostalgic that's going to have more value than others? Pick one product you think that would have that impression still down the road. One of the last years they did this.
Out of all of that,
Yeah.
maybe Gold Label. Yeah. But here's one of the things that I've come to realize in this hobby. The only people who get nostalgic for things are us old guys. It's going to be another 20 years before these young kids get nostalgic for anything. Right now, they're all there for the flip.
Okay, what about the statement, hey, this one, so you're at the show, you have the card. This is actually the last year they did this product.
I don't think anybody cares. The one thing that I would say is like Topps Gallery, if you have sealed product of Topps Gallery that has 2 guaranteed autos in it, and 2022 is the last year, there are autos of Bobby Witt, there are autos of J-Rod, there are autos of Jeremy Pena. So that's a product sealed in the long term, makes a lot of sense to hold if you've got it sealed. I think that at the end of the day, there are very few people. Why do people look for any certain product? Not based on the product itself for the most part. Very few people are like, I just love this product. I don't care who's in it or what it's worth. It's all about what's in that year of any product. 2022 sealed product's going to be great long run. 2023 product, I think, is going to be great sealed long run. 2019 product was okay. 2018 was great. So, yeah, it all depends.
Okay. I'm going to mark down Gallery, though.
Yeah.
If you had to choose. The Golden Marketplace. So you were bringing me up to speed on this. It's looking like a pretty solid alternative to what eBay has become for sports cards.
Yeah. So what are the challenges as a seller or a buyer that you face on eBay?
Shill bidding.
Yep. As a buyer.
Protection for the seller.
Yep. As a seller.
Fees.
Yep.
Those would be my top 3.
Yeah, I would agree. And then you just get not just the shill bidding, but the buyers or more stuff. It was happening with Brock Purdy cards. The minute Brock Purdy got hurt, people were wanting to return everything and filing claims that they didn't get the product as described and everything else. So Golden Marketplace and PWCC to an extent, but I'm just not a PWCC fan. Golden Marketplace, I started messing around with a little bit, and they've got 2 different things happening there. One, they have their weekly auction. 2, they have a just fixed price marketplace. Now, here's the thing as a seller with Golden. You're going to pay higher fees. You're paying 20%. It's flat 20%, but you're paying 20%. In return for that 20%, nobody can return anything to you. That's not an option. You're going to get paid out without any headaches. As a buyer, you're also going to pay 20%. So Golden is raking. They're raking a 40% collective, right? Yep. But as a buyer, it really doesn't matter how much you buy. You know how much shipping costs? $1 to ship your product. I don't mind paying a 20% buyer's premium when I'm finding steals. And I'm telling you right now, go look at the Golden Marketplace, especially on the auctions. You will find some steals. There's not as much competition. Oh, there were 2 different lots. The second week, I missed it because I fell asleep. They tend to end on Thursday nights, and that's my last day of work for the week, and I'm pretty wiped at that point. So I'm falling asleep at 10:30, 11 o'clock most of the time. But there was a lot of 38 blaster boxes of 2008 Press Pass basketball. Press Pass is a product that most new people to the hobby or younger guys don't even know what it is, but it was a licensed product in the day, and there's still a good collector base for it because there were a lot of good autos in it. 2008 was Russell Westbrook's rookie year. There's 2 or 3 other guys in it. A lot of 38 blasters after buyer's premium sold for like $94. It's like $275 a blaster. There's those kind of deals on that marketplace all the time. Now, if you're trying to buy high-end stuff, that's where a lot of the high-end people are at. So you're not going to get great deals on those $100,000 cards or $200,000 cards, but you're going to get great deals on those less than $400 cards and those less than $400 sealed products. And it's not, I don't care to pay the 20% buyer's fee when I'm getting that kind of a deal and I'm getting that kind of protection.
Yeah.
There's no shill bidding. You have to be a verified bidder in order to bid on anything. And verified bidders means you got to get a copy of your driver's license, send it to all that stuff. Yeah. So they've created a marketplace that eliminated a lot of the problems that you deal with on eBay. You're paying higher fees for it. And as a seller, if you don't have the high-end stuff, it's a little tougher because there aren't as many people looking. But as a buyer, it's awesome.
I hope all of that remains true. I have a hunch, if it's as good as it sounds.
Oh, over time it'll
pretty competitive.
Over time it'll get more competitive. But right now, it's a great place to go.
Okay, cool. every few years, SI Kids Magazine has a player that everybody's really excited about. This year we have a little bit of madness happening over Victor Wembanyama.
Ooh, you got it right. I was ready for you just to stumble all over that.
You guys should have seen. He's like, let me show them how smart I am. But I said it right.
You did.
So Victor's got a card. I just looked up this morning as of March the 3rd, which, by the way, is my daughter's birthday. Happy birthday, Sydney.
Yes, ma'am.
9
Happy
years
birthday,
old.
Sid.
All right.
You better love your
SI
present.
The most recent Raw sale, $250 on a Raw card.
Yeah.
It was advertised as centered. It did not look very centered to me.
Right.
But
and there have been Raw sales up to $700 on that card.
how short print is this?
I don't know, but I think that it wouldn't be hard to get circulation numbers for SI for Kids, and that will tell you. Mm-hmm. I know that in the past, the circulation numbers for SI Kids, the number of prints made, has had almost no impact whatsoever on the value of the cards. The reason being that if you're a subscriber and it comes to you in the mail, there's an 80% chance it's rolled up or folded in half and stuck in your mailbox. Mm-hmm. If you're buying it on the newsstand, good luck finding it. So condition matters on this stuff. And it's really, I know for those of us in the sports card hobby, that it's foreign to us, the idea that anybody would see something like that and just treat it like crap. But for every kid who's subscribed to Sports Illustrated for Kids or whose parents subscribe to it for their kids, 1 out of 30 of them give 2 craps about the sports card hobby.
Or the magazine that their mom and dad got.
Right, exactly. So they're getting beat up. They're getting torn up. So condition's going to matter. But this kid is the most hyped prospect since LeBron.
Yeah.
And if you've ever watched any film on him, it's easy to see why. He can literally dunk without jumping. He just stands under the rim and sticks his hands up and throws the ball through the hoop.
I do that as well. It just works
on the little tykes
more often for him than
me. You're on the little tykes.
Well, I'm not dunking. I'm just standing under the hoop.
He can also shoot the 3. He can also dribble a little bit.
Well, he's athletic at 7'2".
7'4".
Oh.
Yeah, 7'4" and has an almost 8-foot wingspan. The dude's a physical freak. So if he puts it all together, we're looking at a superstar in the NBA. So that's why the chase is. And this is his first card.
7'2", ladies and gentlemen. 7'2". Just to confirm from the Google machine.
Okay.
I was right, and you were.
Look at a few other spots. I think you'll find some 7'4" listings.
Calling Wikipedia fake news?
Have you? Okay. Yes, I am. So in general, Sports Illustrated for Kids cards have a really rich history in this hobby. If they're in great condition, they tend to hold massive value. And a lot of that is because of the fact that people my age, we were 12, 13 years old when Sports Illustrated for Kids first came out. Mm-hmm. So there's a massive amount of sentimentality for us with those cards. And when newer cards in that same run come out, there's a lot of nostalgia attached to it. Mm-hmm. I don't think print run matters because condition is going to be so sensitive. It's a perforated card anyway. So even if they made 5 million of them, which they didn't, but even if they did, just the process of knowing how to tear it out of the magazine without destroying it is difficult. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking the best way to do it is to just cut off the perforations, just measure it and use an X-Acto knife. Nope. You send it in to get graded that way. It won't get graded. They want to see the perforations.
I'd like to circle back to his height. Basketballreference.com.
Is he 7'2" there too?
7'2".
I swear I read 7'4" somewhere.
Yes!
Well, take your win, bro.
The SI Kids card, though, that I remember the most is the Tony Hawk. I remember that being just...
I sold one not too long ago.
Yeah, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
If you only would have had a friend that would have loved to have that card.
I mean, if you'd have bought it for what the guy paid for it, I'd have given you a discount. I think I sold it for $200. I'd have sold it to you for like $150.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I would have.
$150?
Yeah, for you? Yeah.
So if I find another $200 card that I really like of yours...
Yeah.
$150.
Yeah, I would hook you up.
$150.
Yeah.
All right. It's good to know.
As long as
I
it's
would
actually.
never give you $50 off. Bro.
I know you wouldn't, but I would you. That's because I'm a better friend than you.
Okay.
We rolling.
Okay. Let's move on.
It's
Ladies
time.
and gentlemen,
It's your favorite part.
I thought we were almost done. Turns out we were only halfway.
God, listen, I'm
We
so
are-
excited. Nothing. My favorite part of the day right now, literally every single day, my favorite part of the day, I come home from work, I walk the dogs, I sit down in my chair after I grab a beer or whatever else, and I fire up the day's spring training box scores.
Fire them up, baby.
Yes, sir. And I spent a half an hour just pouring through the box scores for the day. I'm so excited that baseball is happening right now. I'm so excited that baseball is happening right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Today we are going to be diving into the AL West.
Correct.
And let's go alphabetical order
Oh, we're going alphabetical order?
just for you.
You're just not going to roll down the list that we had?
That's what you had.
Oh, okay.
That's what you had.
I don't think it's alphabetical because the Astros are last.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So we will not be going alphabetical order. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about?
What didn't we talk about?
Bowman.
It's still, we don't have any information.
We got something with Bowman.
What do we get?
The GOAT.
Oh, we did. So
We would be
that was-
canceled if we
yes,
didn't.
that's the other announcement from the industry summit.
I can't believe we
I can't
didn't-
believe it either because we were both like floored. 2023.
No, because you came right into the barbecue and just dumped sauce on everything.
It's delicious.
That was a
the sauce
painful
is
3
delicious.
minutes of opening.
The 2023 unintentional comedy is the best comedy. Unintentional comedy is the best comedy. Guys, I'm not going to explain that joke if you didn't get it.
Okay.
So, hopefully you got it. 2023 Bowman draft is going to have Tom Brady autographs. A lot of people don't realize in 1995, Tom Brady was drafted by the then Montreal Expos.
Wee. Ho.
Late round pick, went to college instead, and the rest is history.
Turns out it worked out really well
It
for him.
did, but that product,
Not just because of his NFL career, which turned out to be pretty good, but this week he went down and took some live BP.
it didn't look so
It
great.
did not look so good. He had Gronk out in right field fielding for him, and that also he got
Didn't look good.
smoked on a pop
Well,
fly.
did you not see the one time that they stuck Gronk back in coverage against your Dolphins at the end of the game, and he looked like just
Yes.
trash,
Yes.
and you won a game
That was
on
the
a
miracle.
crazy play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was bad. I'm not done. I'm
Okay,
not
I
done.
thought you were.
When Tom Brady swings a baseball bat, he does salsa. 3 feet are moving every swing.
Oh, that's funny. So anyhow, that product, we have no idea when it'll come out. If it was like this year, it'll be the very end of 2023, but with or Bowman baseball not even having a release date yet, it might be into 2024 at this point. Who knows? But that product, depending on what we find out, if the Brady cards and autographs are printed at the same level or I guarantee you it's not going to be printed with a bunch of base ones. But if all the numbered ones are the same as normal, so you're going to have your refractor of $4.99, then $2.99 speckle, $2.50 purple, all that stuff, the product is going to be very expensive.
Yeah.
Like very, very, very expensive. If it turns out that they only have 10 of these across the whole product line, then it should be a pretty standard Bowman pricing because there's not that much of an opportunity to hit one of those.
Backyard will hit it anyway.
It will be the biggest card in that product, though.
Yeah.
Like, no question about it. It'll be a Bowman first of Tom Brady auto. Like, that's insane. Yeah. So, I thought you were asking about 2023 Bowman release.
No.
We
I
don't
was
know
like,
anything.
you and I
saw
talked
the
about it.
design. What is up with Topps lately? Just basically saying, hey, you know what? Let's just go like 7 years back and just slightly tweak whatever that design was.
Yeah.
The new Bowman design looks a whole lot like 2015.
Yep.
It's a whole lot like 2015.
I'm okay with it. It's been almost 10 years.
Yeah, it's not that I hate it. It's just maybe a little bit of originality. I don't know. Anyhow, go ahead.
All right. Up first, for whatever reason, you're obsessed with talking about catchers, so let's keep this going. Logan O'Hop.
O'Hoppy.
Yeah, there it is, bud. You got to correct
Well, I
me.
mean, if you're gonna talk about prospecting, know the
Jason,
name.
do you come home from a hard day's work and do you sit down with an ice cold beer and read through the box scores or not? It's O'Hoppy.
Yeah, it's O'Hoppy. Logan O'Hoppy is going to be the opening day starter at
I just
catcher.
want to say phonetically, Hoppe. 2 consonants. Is that vowel supposed to be long?
Yes, with the 2 consonants. If there was only one, it would be hope. Oh, hope.
Indiana's education system failed me.
And many others. Yeah, it's fair.
Bob Jones curriculum.
So Logan O'Hoppy is going to be the opening
It's
day.
spelling, not science, Jason. Calm down.
He's going to be the opening day starter for the Angels at catcher.
Hold on. Do you want me to have fun with this or not? I can't decide because I felt like you wanted me to step it up a notch halfway into this episode. Now I'm doing it, and you're like, will you sit down? Classes in session.
No. You can keep going, and then I'll overtalk you with actual information. It's a good dynamic.
For those of you listening at home right now, I apologize.
This is like undefeated if Skip and Shannon just both really were drunk.
You're Skip.
That's really hurtful.
Oh my God, you're a lot like him.
Wow.
Everybody listening at home right now knows it.
I'm going to go home and have an existential crisis after you said that.
Why do you keep talking about your bowel movements?
What?
Existential crisis.
That's
what you called it.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with bowel movements.
Oh, that's what you called your bowel movement the other day.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, me too.
Logan O'Hoppy is going to be the opening day starter at catcher for the Angels. Traded in the Brandon Marsh deal from the Phillies last year. The kid is a really good defensive catcher. He's got a ton of power. And he's got great bat-to-ball skills. I think he hit 26 jacks last year across Double-A and Triple-A. Got called up to the Angels at the end of the year for about 5 games, hit 286, about a 20% strikeout rate. Solid player, good defensive catcher. Don't count out a guy like O'Hoppy as being a contender for the AL Rookie of the Year. And if he is, he'd be the first catcher to win Rookie of the Year since Mike Piazza. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Sounds right to me. So, yeah, Logan O'Hoppy. His stuff ain't cheap, but he's going to be pretty good.
Up next, Edward.
Edgar?
Edgar. Well, Edward.
Edgar and Edward are not the same thing.
Edgar Cuero?
Yeah.
All right.
There you go. I mean,
you
remind us of
another
your Puerto
catcher.
Rican heritage. So
another catcher.
He is another catcher. He's another catcher that is likely going to end up on a corner outfield or first base. He's athletic enough to be a corner outfielder, so that's where I think he ends up at. Spent a full season at high A ball last year. And keep in mind, the kid is just turned 19. So spent a full year at high A ball, hit 312. 17 jacks, had 75 ribbies, struck out just a tiny bit more than he walked, has a little bit of speed. The thing that's really encouraging with this kid is he is a sub 23% strikeout guy with some serious power. Should start the year at Double-A this year. Maybe high A, but then he'll be in Double-A pretty quick, especially since O'Hoppy got promoted straight from Double-A. So if he starts at high A, spends a month there, and continues doing what he did last year in low A ball, he'll be at Double-A pretty quickly, and his bat is going to keep him relevant as a prospect for a while.
Really makes good contact, switch hitter. So, yeah, there's a lot to develop there.
Yeah.
Up next, somebody that I actually hit a few of his decent parallels. I feel like he was all over Bowman.
He was. I actually bought his gold auto from you.
That's right.
Yeah. I sold it later, but I did. I bought it from you.
Kai Bush.
Floor is probably a number 4 starter. just going to be a solid major league arm again for a long time. He doesn't have any pitches that just make you go, holy crap, but he's got a plus fastball, sits about 95, 96 with decent movement. His curveball's trash. Good slider to pair with the fastball, though.
Low 80s, so 15 different.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a little bit of reliever risk, but he's got good enough control that I don't think that that's going to be the case. I think that he's a 4, maybe a 5 starter. I don't think he's ever better than a 3. So it's not somebody that you're going to go out and just rake with, but he's going to be a solid major league pitcher, and it wouldn't shock me to see him pull a Reed Detmers and toss a no-hitter at some point.
Yeah.
And you can cash in at that point. I think Reed Detmers is a 1 or a 2 long-term, though. He's really, really good.
Let's move over to Oakland.
Oh, Oakland has 3 guys I really like.
First one is a first base / catcher.
He's going to be a first baseman.
Okay.
100% going to be a first baseman in the majors.
I'll shoot MLB an email and have him clean that up.
Well,
Tyler Soderstrom.
Tyler Soderstrom, 21 years old, got to AAA last year and torched it.
$3.3 million as the number 26.
Yeah, that's about right. But he got better and better throughout the year last year. Every level that he moved up. So he went 3 levels last year. He went from high A to AAA. And every level he got better. Has a ton of raw natural power. Good bat to ball skills. He's not great defensively. That's why he's going to be at first base. As the year went on, he started playing more and more at first base than at catcher. But his upside is Matt Olson, which is pretty freaking good. Worst scenario, I think he's a guy that's going to hit 265 with 25 to 30 jacks, play a solid defense at first base, and just be a good 4 or 5 hitter for wherever he ends up. The problem he's going to have is Oakland is just a graveyard.
Yeah.
So hopefully he can get out of there.
Yeah.
But he's got the ability to be really good too.
This next prospect is probably the first one I'm a little bit excited to talk about.
Okay.
Esteury Ruiz.
You got it. Esteury Ruiz.
Hit a rookie auto you bought off of me out of Series 1.
I did.
So was with the Brew Crew.
He's been all over the place.
Yeah. So the thing with this guy, he is real fast.
He stole 85 bases last year.
85 bases.
He was like 85 for 92.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
projects as the opening day center fielder. For the A's. Last year, that was Christian Pache. I think the A's thought process is that Esteury Ruiz is maybe not quite as good defensively as Pache is, because Pache is like all world defensively. But he can't possibly be worse at the plate than Christian Pache, because Christian Pache hit like 160 last year. They played him 112 games.
Yeah.
Like, he's just bad at the plate.
Yeah.
Esteury Ruiz had a power surge last year. He hit really close to 300. He hit over 300. Sorry, he hit 332 last year with 85 stolen bases, 16 jacks. And it wasn't a fluke. Like, it was across three teams. He went double A to 2 different AAA teams and didn't hit less than 315 at any stop. So if he can continue to have just decent bat to ball skills at the major league level, and that average drops to 270, and he hits 15 jacks and steals 75 bases and gets on base and gives you above average to borderline Gold Glove level center field play, that's an all-star player.
And what will happen at this level, just with time, is more plate discipline and more balls on base.
One would hope.
Yeah.
And that's something that he struggled with early in his minor league career, but last year he seemed to make some real adjustments on that front.
It's going to make a huge difference for him.
Oh, yeah.
Get on base and let him go.
If you can recognize when a ball is 6 inches outside, you become a better baseball player.
It sounds simple.
It's
until
not.
It's starting inside and then ends up out there.
Yep.
So up next, Jordan Diaz.
So Jordan Diaz is an interesting cat. He's a first baseman, third baseman. I think long-term he's probably a first baseman, but he's short for a first baseman. He's like 5'10", 5'11". I don't think he can play a corner outfield because I don't think he has enough speed to play a corner outfield. But he hits. He just hits. He doesn't have massive power. He has decent power. He doesn't have amazing bat-to-ball skills, but he has good back-to-ball skills. He's kind of like Ty France. He's a guy that nobody ever got excited about, but every year he just hits right around 300, and he hits 20 to 25 jacks, and he's going to have 80 to 75 to 85 RBIs, and he's just going to give you really good mid to heart of the order production. He got a little bit of a look last year at the end of the year with the A's for 15 games and held his own. He hit 265, did not strike out a lot. He was like a 18% strikeout guy, which is really in line with his minor league numbers. Minor league wise, he shows real power, 19 to 20, 25 jacks a year type of a guy at the major league level. And he's going to put the bat on the ball. He's not going to steal you many bases because he's a pretty thick dude that doesn't move super well, but he's just going to hit.
Big dramatic swing too.
Yeah,
Big
and
leg.
his autos, his Bowman first autos are in 2021 Bowman Chrome, and they're relatively affordable. You can buy his base autos for $20 to $30. You can get nice color for less than $100. And he's a cat that if he gets 120 games this year, bouncing back and forth between DH first and third, would not be shocking to see him hit 265, 280, somewhere in that range with 25 jacks. And at the end of the year, you're like, oh, he's a top 5 rookie of the year guy in the AL.
Yeah. One good thing about being in Oakland, you got a chance of getting a little more look.
Yeah.
Get a little more playing time.
100%.
Okay, let's move up to Seattle.
Mariners.
Jonathan Clase.
I love Jonathan Clase. Here is a
Scary fast.
yes, and here's what's crazy. So there were 10 or 12 guys in all of the minor leagues last year who stole more than 20 bases, had an ISO over 190, and who had an on-base percentage north of 360. He was one of them, and probably the youngest one. Really fast, has a lot of raw power, and is starting to tap into his in-game power. He is number one on this list for me, even though he's only their number 12 prospect, because he's so young, and he still has juice to get to. Spent a year at low A last year, played really, really well. Strikeouts are an issue, but he stole 55 bases. Hit 13 home runs, hit 11 triples and 22 doubles. 11 triples is a lot of triples in 100 games. That's a lot of triples.
It is.
Plays a pretty good outfield. I don't know if his long-term home is going to be center. It should be, but he gets a little tied up sometimes. That could change. He could get a little bit better at judging the ball coming off the bat. But in general, he's a buy low, potentially skyrocket type kid as far as his Bowman first stuff goes. He really is.
Yeah. Next one, you're not going to believe what position he plays.
We talked about this.
Harry Ford.
Yeah, we talked about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The hobby has traditionally kind of shit all over catchers. But there's so many really good catchers coming up right now that are super athletic. Like what do you think of when you think of a catcher traditionally? Like I think of like Alejandro Kirk.
I think of Pudge.
Yeah, but Pudge was even more athletic. Most of the time, your catcher is a shorter, portly type dude, good arm.
Eddie Taubensee.
Yeah, that can hit enough, but doesn't look like much of an athlete. Alejandro Kirk.
Jason LaRue.
Right? Like, this new group of catchers coming up. So here's all you need to know about Harry Ford. They seriously considered moving him to center field. That's how good of an athlete he is.
Which is quite different.
Yes. Top 10 pick.
That's a lot of speed.
Top 10 pick in 2021. Spent the whole year at low A last year as a 19-year-old, just turned 20. Slugged 438, had an OPS of 863. Does not strike out a ton, more than you'd like to see, but it's not as bad as some of the other highly rated prospects that spend their first year. Hit 11 jacks, steals some bases. How many catchers steal 23, 24 bases a year? Not many. Lot of home runs. Again, a lot of doubles. That plays well in Seattle. I think we see him make the climb to AAA this year. I think he's one of those kids that goes 3 levels. He'll start the year at high A, and I think he gets to AAA by the end of the year.
Yeah, not many catchers have that kind of speed.
And he's still reasonably affordable, considering the rest of the guys in that draft class, like Marcelo Mayer and Jordan Lawler and Henry Davis, are through the roof price-wise.
Yeah. Let's head to the Rangers.
We only have one Mariner on the list?
We did Class A as well.
Oh, okay. Sorry. We're heading where, to the Rangers?
Did you feel like you really wanted to give Seattle more time?
Well, I did, but the only other person worth talking about is Emerson Hancock, and he's a pitcher. And if you want to invest in pitchers, just go buy all of them and wait 20 years.
That's great advice. Evan Carter.
It's such a crapshoot.
Evan Carter, outfielder.
So if you're wanting to invest in Evan Carter, you're going to be paying market price right now. The boat to jump on cheap was 4 months ago. Another kid who doesn't necessarily have massive power, but puts the bat on the ball, plays really good defense, is really, really highly regarded in that organization and across baseball, has not tapped into all of his power yet. I mean, he's a 50 power guy, which puts him in that 20 to 25 home run range if he ever taps into it. But he's a projectable all-star level player. 20 years old at Double-A. I mean, he jumped from high A to Double-A last year, and he just hit. I mean, he hit 295 across 2 levels. When he got to Double-A, he hit 430. Had some decent home runs. He does not strike out very much at all. Steals bases, puts the bat on the ball, gets on base. His on base percentage at Double-A last year was 536. That's insane.
Yeah.
There's a short sample size, but that's insane for a 20-year-old at Double-A.
Yeah.
But his Bowman Chrome autos are upwards of $100
Now's
now.
not the time.
Raw. Like, if you're buying him now, just know that you need him to hit.
Yeah.
You need him to really play well to see a gain on your dollars. Average play isn't going to do it.
Yep. Up next, it's a family tradition. Luis Angel Acuna.
Yep. A kid whose name carries more weight than his play right now, but he does have projectable 5 tools. Power's the weak link.
Is it generously listed as 5'10"?
Yeah, he's a small dude, but his brother's not huge.
Right.
You know, Ronald Acuna is not massive, but this kid has enough of a body of work right now. He's about 1,000 at bats for his minor league career and looks like a 290-ish hitter, probably. That means that occasionally he's going to have a year where he hits 310. He's occasionally going to have a year where he hits 270. Decent power, really fast, steals a lot of bases. He's cheaper than Evan Carter is right now. There was a minute there where he was crazy. He's in 2020 Bowman Chrome. Same release that had Michael Harris in it. So, again, he's going to be approach-based. His issues are all approach-based. If he can iron out his approach at the plate and get on base a little bit more and strike out a little bit less, he could be pretty special. I don't think he's ever going to be his brother hitting 40, 45 jacks. That's not his game. But he's going to be pretty good.
Well, and just with the name, there will be more hobby attention.
Absolutely.
So the little peaks along the way are going to be a good opportunity in the market to capitalize.
Yep.
Finally, with the Rangers, and I mean finally. I'm just kidding. I'm having a good time. You having
You're
a good
so
time?
hateful. I love this stuff.
Yeah. Aaron Zavala,
This is like
outfielder.
pulling
6 foot,
teeth for you.
193. It's not pulling teeth.
Okay.
I
You
love
hate
this.
every bit of this.
No, I don't.
Aaron Zavala is in 2021 Bowman draft. College bat. Again, a kid who just hits. There was a little bit of concern. His first little go around in 2021, he struggled for a minute, and then he got to low A and hit. And then last year, he went from high A to Double A, and he just hit. Does not strike out. He had 310 plate appearances last year. He struck out 29 times.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, he struck out less than 10% of the time. His walks and strikeouts are almost identical.
You're really solid bat.
Yeah, he's just a really solid bat, and the Rangers need solid bats. They've got enough boom or bust. They need some solid bats.
Yep. Okay, the Houston Astros.
Talk about a barren farm system.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rough in Houston right now.
Hunter Brown, pitcher.
So
Only 2 pitchers?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, so here's the thing with Hunter Brown. There's a question. Who's the real Hunter Brown? Is the real Hunter Brown the guy that we saw at the end of the year when he got called up and into the playoffs for the Astros on their World Series run? Because this kid has a World Series ring.
Yeah, you got a cup of coffee.
And he only played 7 games in the regular season.
And it was a venti with room for cream and sugar.
He had 2 starts. He went 2-0.
They gave him a drink carrier for his cup of coffee because he would need to bring home the World Series ring in it.
Yeah. Okay. He had 2 starts in the regular season. He went 2-0. Pitched 20.1 innings, had 22 strikeouts. Makes him almost 10 Ks per 9 guy. Opponent's batting average against him was 205, and he was better in the playoffs than he was in his call-up in the regular season. Now, is that the guy who we're talking about? Or is he the guy who had a minor league career record of 17-11, which is solid, with a 3.4 ERA? Got a little bit of relief time, has average whip numbers, good batting average against guy, a lot of strikeouts. The question is the control that we saw in his cup of coffee the real deal, or is he going to be a long relief guy?
And he's hit 99.
Oh, yeah, no. The ball moves, and it's got great induced vertical break. He's got 3 pitches, like 3 legit pitches, and probably a 4th that's usable when he feels confident in it. So if he's the guy we saw at the end of the year, long-term he ends up being a frontline starter, 1 or 2. This year in Houston, I think he probably starts the year as their 4 because they've got a ridiculous pitching staff. Christian Javier, Framber Valdez, they've got some real dudes. But I think Hunter Brown's in that rotation. His rookie card is in 2023 Topps Flagship Series 1. He's a guy that if you're going to go after a pitcher, there's worse guys you could make bets on.
Yeah. Up next, Pedro Leon playing for the Sugarland Space Cowboys.
So Pedro, this is how barren the Astros farm system is. We're going to talk about a guy who feels like he's 35 years old. He's only 24. Cuban defector, hits the ball a country mile when he makes contact, but he's going to strike out 35% of the time. He's going to hit 230, and he's going to hit 40 jacks. That's who he is. When he makes contact, it is crazy, crazy loud contact. But in 413 at-bats last year, he struck out 145 times.
It's a lot.
Yeah. He did steal 38 bases. Considering he only hit 228 for the year, having a 365 on-base percentage wasn't terrible. When you hit 228 and your OPS is almost 800, that means you are racking the ball when you make contact with it, which is what he did. But he's getting older, and the reason he's still down is because the whiff concerns are just staggering. But he's their next best prospect, in my opinion. I mean, you got guys like Drew Gilbert. There's just not enough upside with some of those guys. Some of the times when you're looking at top prospects in a system that's barren, you're looking at floor. And I don't mind looking at floor from a baseball standpoint, but when we're talking about cards and investing in guys, you got to look for guys who have the potential to boom. Like Pedro Leon's a guy who maybe has a year where he puts it all together and hits 255 with 45 jacks, and all of a sudden you can cash out of his stuff. We saw this with Adolis
Maybe he
Garcia.
ends up in a home run derby.
Yeah, well, we saw this with Adolis Garcia 3 years ago, 2020. He was in 2016 Bowman. He was a mid-range prospect for the Rangers, but he finally got his chance in the first half leading up to the All-Star break. He hit like 290, had 22 or 23 home runs, 55 or 60 RBIs at the All-Star break, and people were cashing out of his autos that they had bought for $3-4 a piece for $120, $130. And then the second half of the year, he came back down to earth. I remember, I think we talked about him. He came back down to earth, and he's still in the majors and still a solid player, but he'll never have another first half of a year like he had that year. Pedro Leon could have a first half like that where you could cash out of him. That's why we're talking about him, because all the other guys are guys that you're going to spend 10 to 15, 20 bucks for an auto on, and at the best you're going to get 25 or 30 bucks out of it.
Well, give me an upside on Gilbert. You mentioned him.
Upside on Gilbert is a everyday corner outfielder that steals 25 bases, hits 18 jacks, and hits 270.
Okay.
Solid major league contributor, not going to move any needles in the card market at all.
So you're glad I asked you for more?
Yeah, that's the problem with that system. There's just nobody exciting other than Hunter Brown, and he's a pitcher.
Sounds like a trade's coming up soon then probably.
Well, they're going to have to reload that system.
Yeah.
Have to.
Hey, bud, that wasn't so bad.
No, I know.
If I just let you talk.
Well, I mean, and then you make some jokes at my expense.
Yeah.
And then you make some inappropriate jokes that
No,
people
I
have
did
to listen
not.
very
I did
closely.
not make a
No,
single
you just
inappropriate-
laughed at something that was said.
How do you know?
Because I know you.
No, you don't. You're not in my head.
Stop.
I'm in your head.
Stop.
This has been the Ball Card Show, the Esports Podcast.
For the Esports Collector.
See ya.
Peace.